Welcome to a special deep dive brought to you by the Nepali Diaspora Network podcast.
Oh,
Today, we're unpacking the latest Nepali Diaspora Digest newsletter. We're looking into the articles, the insights that shape it.
yeah.
Our mission, like always, is to give you that shortcut, that way to be truly well-informed about what's happening in Nepal and, how it connects to Nepalese all around the world.
And we've got quite a mix today, haven't we? Everything from, well, the sheer power of nature literally changing the landscape
Right.
to the quieter shifts in the economy and, of course, the usual complex political dances.
Yeah.
It's a real snapshot, I think, of a nation navigating, old rhythms and very modern pressures.
That mix really sets the stage, doesn't it? Mountains melting, rivers surging, money moving, leaders maneuvering. Nepal is definitely not easing quietly into this monsoon season.
Not at all.
So we're going to peel back the layers on the key news, the views, the insights. Our goal is for you to walk away with a richer sense of the drama, the progress, and also those persistent challenges shaping Nepal right now.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's dive in. Let's start with a story that, wow, it really captures both nature's fury and human resilience. The Rasua floods. Can you walk us through what happened, the scale of it?
Well, what's really striking here is the origin. This wasn't just, typical heavy monsoon rain.
Right.
It was a flash flood that actually started in Tibet from the Lenda River, and it just surged into the Bodakoshi River, which flows into Nepal.
Okay.
And the devastation, it was immense. At least 9 people confirmed dead, 19 are still missing,
Oh, wow.
and key infrastructure was just obliterated. The Materi Bridge, that vital link between Nepal and China, gone.
The main bridge.
The main one. Customs yards, hydropower stations, container trucks just sitting at the dry port, wiped out.
Yeah.
And over 1,100 meters of roadway destroyed at 10 different points.
So roads, power, internet, all cut.
Everything. Cut off completely in some areas.
That's just staggering. So beyond the immediate destruction, what's the critical takeaway here? About these kinds of disasters, it feels like more than just bad weather.
It absolutely is. And it raises this urgent question about climate change, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Scientists are really warning these aren't isolated incidents anymore. Experts at ISOMODE, that's the International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, they're calling the pace of these glacial origin floods completely unprecedented in the Himalayas.
Unprecedented.
Yeah. Satellite data confirm this. Rasua flood started from a sudden drainage of what they call a superglacial lake. Basically, a lake that forms right on top of a glacier.
Okay.
This one was near the Pirepo Glacier in Tibet. And the scary part is, even smaller, newly formed lakes can now unleash disaster. Sometimes they're too small for the freely available satellite images to even pick up properly.
Wow, so they can happen almost without warning?
Potentially, yes. And that ties into another critical issue. Nepal's vulnerability and the ongoing lack of real-time data sharing with China, that kind of information could literally save lives.
That's a sobering thought. If these floods are unprecedented and maybe from sources too small to easily detect, what does that mean for long-term preparedness?
It means a complete rethink is needed, really. Strategies have to adapt.
And amidst all that destruction, you mentioned resilience. What was the response like on the ground?
It was actually quite remarkable, despite the challenges. A huge coordination effort unfolded. Over 150 individuals were airlifted to safety.
150.
Yes. And that included 127 foreign nationals. You had security forces, local volunteers, rescue teams working around the clock, building temporary foot trails, getting supplies to cut off villages.
Just making paths.
Exactly. Nearly 900 people were evacuated in total. And it even led to some rare cross-border cooperation. Chinese authorities allowed stranded pilgrims to reroute through different points.
That's something, at least.
It really highlights that deep well of resilience,
Definitely. Now, Rasua was obviously huge, but were there other impacts from the early monsoon across Nepal? Sounds like it was widespread.
It was. Heavy rains triggered landslides and river surges in other places, too.
Yeah.
Over in Tapaljung in the east, 2 motorable bridges and a wooden one were swept away. Power cuts in several areas.
Yep.
Then in Miyadi, tragically, a landslide killed 1 person and their 12-year-old son is still missing.
Oh, terrible.
And down south in Nalparazi, the Narayani River swept away a child. 45 homes were flooded, and a whole section of the main east-west highway near Dawn collapsed. That caused major traffic disruption.
So a really challenging start to the monsoon season across the board.
Very much so.
Now, shifting gears a bit, while communities grapple with these natural disasters, there are also ongoing public health issues. What's the situation with animal health, specifically lumpy skin disease?
Yes, LSD. It's been a significant problem, particularly in the Japa district. Over the past year, more than 10,000 cattle have been infected there.
10,000.
Yes, and sadly, 142 deaths reported among cattle. It's a serious economic hit for farmers.
I can imagine.
Vaccination campaigns are running. About 58,000 animals have been vaccinated already. But the challenge is the disease spreads more easily as temperatures rise, and is carried by insects. So it's an ongoing battle.
Right. Well, amidst all these challenges, Nepal also had moments for cultural reflection. Tell us about Guru Purnima.
Yes, Guru Purnima was celebrated recently across the country. It's a really important day for honoring teachers, mentors, gurus.
Mm-hmm.
The tradition is deep-rooted. The word guru itself signifies someone who dispels darkness. Gu meaning darkness, Ru meaning remover with wisdom.
That's a lovely meaning.
It is. And it also commemorates the birth anniversary of the sage Ved Vyas, who's revered for compiling the ancient Vedas. So it's a day of deep cultural gratitude.
And speaking of Nepal's incredible heritage, there was some big news about Lumbini's global status, wasn't there? That sounds really significant for national pride.
Oh, absolutely huge news. Lumbini, the birthplace of the Buddha, it has narrowly avoided being placed on UNESCO's list of World Heritage in Danger.
Wow, that's fantastic. How did that happen?
Well, UNESCO basically acknowledged Nepal's stepped-up conservation efforts and international cooperation over the last year. They pointed specifically to things like Nepal's integrated management plan, specific strategies for conservation, like the work done on the Ashoka Pillar and the Maya Devi Temple.
So, avoiding this danger list, why is that such a big win? What does it really mean?
It's massive.
Hmm.
It's basically a thumbs up from the international community saying Nepal is taking its responsibility seriously. It reaffirms Nepal's commitment to preserving this incredibly important site.
Okay.
And that's crucial not just for, cultural legacy, but also for tourism, for Nepal's standing as the birthplace of Buddha. It boosts the country's image, helps attract visitors, maybe even investment in heritage sites. It's a really significant positive step.
That's great news indeed. Okay, let's pivot now towards the economy. What's the latest positive development for Nepalese citizens when it comes to healthcare access?
Well, there's been a much-needed boost here. The government has effectively doubled the health insurance coverage for serious illnesses. It's gone up to 200,000 rupees.
Doubled to 200,000.
Yes, which is roughly $1,500 US. This expanded scheme kicks in from July 17th.
And what does it cover?
It covers treatment for 8 specific life-threatening conditions. Things like cancer, heart disease, kidney problems, serious head and spinal injuries, sickle cell anemia, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's.
That sounds like it could make a real difference.
It really should. It's hoped this will bring significant relief to thousands of families who are just struggling with those huge medical bills.
Good news. And what about the digital side of the economy? Is Nepal really embracing electronic payments? What are the numbers telling us?
Oh, absolutely. The digital economy is finishing the fiscal year on a real high note. Electronic payments hit a record, get this, 83.24 trillion rupees in just 1 month, Justa.
Trillion with a T.
Trillion with a T. That's mid-May to mid-June. It's an incredible figure.
What's driving that massive surge?
Well, a lot of it was driven by RTGS systems. That's real-time gross settlement. Basically, large value, instant bank-to-bank transfers. And there was also a predictable spike in government spending right at the end of the fiscal year. They always try to disperse funds quickly then. Just for context, the government apparently still needed to pay out almost 400 billion rupees in the last 5 days of the year.
Wow. So a lot of money moving fast and digitally. What do you think is behind this rapid acceleration? And what does it mean for things like, say, financial inclusion or transparency?
Well, it clearly signals a big shift towards digitization. And potentially, yes, greater transparency too.
Oh, so.
That push for real-time settlements, especially from the government side, it streamlines things, reduces reliance on cash, which is always good for efficiency and maybe combating corruption.
Right.
There are still hurdles, of course, infrastructure and access challenges. But this rapid adoption, it definitely points towards a future where more Nepalese, maybe even in rural areas, can access financial services digitally.
Interesting. And staying with infrastructure but moving to power, what's the latest there?
There's progress in Miyagi district. Test production has started on the 220 kV Chimkola-Rohad transmission line.
Okay, what does that line do?
It's a 13-kilometer line. And it's crucial because it will connect nearly 130 megawatts of hydropower from 4 different projects.
Yeah.
Let me see. Chimkola-Mangal Rahat, Upper Rahat, Thulokala, and Upper Thulokala. Connects all that power to the central grid.
So more reliable power, hopefully.
That's the goal. It's a really important step for better energy distribution, helping to tackle those power shortages, especially as demand keeps growing.
Definitely needed. Okay, let's turn our attention now to politics. We saw some significant tensions recently involving doctors. What was that all about, and how did it get resolved?
Yes, that was quite tense for a few days. Doctors actually called off their protests after reaching an agreement with the government.
What triggered the protests?
It started when the Consumer Court ordered several hospitals to pay compensation to patients for alleged negligence. That led the Nepal Medical Association to demand legal reforms. They felt doctors were under undue pressure and needed better protection. It got serious enough that Prime Minister Oli himself intervened.
And the deal?
The deal includes setting up a task force, quickly, within a week, to review the Consumer Protection Act. And thankfully, regular medical services are back up and running now. A major crisis averted.
That's a relief for everyone needing care. Now, another political issue that dragged on was the Kathmandu city budget. It was stuck for months, right? What's an update?
Yes, that deadlock is finally over. Kathmandu Metropolitan City has tabled its budget about 25.11 billion rupees for the upcoming fiscal year.
And what was the holdup all about?
It was a clash between the mayor, Balendra Shah, and the federal government. It started when the mayor put the chief administrative officer on leave, alleging corruption. But then the federal government reinstated him. That basically brought city governance to a standstill. Apparently, staff hadn't even been paid for over 6 months.
6 months without pay. Wow. That's a long time for a city government to be paralyzed. What does this whole episode tell us about the bigger picture of, say, decentralization in Nepal, when local and federal powers collide like this?
Yeah, it really highlights that ongoing tension, doesn't it, between local autonomy and central control.
Seems like it.
Decentralization is supposed to empower local bodies like Kathmandu, but this shows how federal intervention, even if maybe well-intentioned from their perspective, can just cripple local administration. People don't get services, staff don't get paid.
Right.
It really underlines the need for clearer rules, better mechanisms to sort out these power struggles so governance doesn't just grind to a halt because of political fights.
Makes sense. And connecting this to the broader national political scene, there's apparently some intrigue brewing within the ruling CPN-UML party.
Oh, yes. Definitely some internal politics heating up there within the CPN-UML.
What's happening?
Well, the return of former President Bidya Devi Bhandari to active politics seems to have reignited a leadership challenge. She's rumored to be eyeing KP Sharma Oli's position, potentially challenging his bid for a third term as party chairperson.
But aren't there rules about age and term limits?
There are, and that's part of the debate. There's talk internally about possibly amending the party statute. So upcoming meetings of Politburo, the Central Committee, and especially a policy convention planned for September, those will be really crucial for sorting out this power struggle and setting the party's direction.
Lots to watch there. And there was also that rather curious incident involving the former king. It seemed to touch a raw nerve.
It did, yeah. It caused quite a stir. The former king, Gyanendra Shah's press secretary, was actually summoned by the police.
Summoned? For what?
For referring to the ex-king using his old title, His Majesty the King.
Just for using the title?
Apparently so. The police stated it violates constitutional provisions, as Nepal is now a republic. But then you had the chairman of the Rastriya Prajatantra Party Nepal criticizing the police action as narrow-minded, arguing it's just a natural, respectful way to address him for some people.
So it highlights those ongoing sensitivities.
Exactly. It really underscores the delicate balance Nepal is still navigating. Its monarchical past versus its current republican identity. Even something seemingly small like a title can instantly become a political issue.
Fascinating. And finally, on the governance front, what's the latest on economic policy from the central bank?
Right, the new governor of Nepal Rashtra Bank, Dr. Biswanath Podel, he's just unveiled his first monetary policy for the new fiscal year, 2025-26.
And what's the main aim?
Well, the policy is trying to address the current economic slowdown. So it's focusing on managing the money supply carefully, trying to control inflation, balancing foreign income and spending, maintaining financial stability, and also providing some targeted credit support to economic sectors that are struggling.
So stimulating growth while keeping inflation in check.
That's the tightrope they have to walk, essentially.
Yeah.
Especially in the current complex global economic climate. It's a challenging balancing act.
Indeed. Okay, let's talk about things directly impacting Nepalese abroad or those planning travel. There's been a change in foreign exchange rules.
Yes, a potentially helpful one for some. The government has raised the maximum amount of foreign exchange people can take out. when traveling abroad. It's gone up to USD 3,000 per person.
Up from what?
It was capped at USD 1,500 before.
So doubled.
Doubled, yes. The idea is to ease the burden a bit for students, migrant workers, tourists. Global travel is getting more expensive.
True. Is 3,000 enough, though?
Well, that's the feedback from many. They appreciate the increase, but say it still might not be quite enough to cover all the costs these days. But it's a step.
A step in the right direction. And another piece of news with big implications, especially for those with religious or spiritual ties, and potentially for the diaspora. The Kailash Manasarovar Yatra. That's back on.
Yes. This is really major news, especially thinking about the diaspora connection in tourism. The Kailash Manasarovar Yatra has finally resumed after a 5-year pause.
5 years. Why the pause?
Primarily due to the pandemic and subsequent border restrictions with China.
Okay, so its resumption is significant.
Hugely significant. It's bringing a big wave of Indian religious tourists, pilgrims traveling through Nepal. Tour operators are expecting at least 25,000 Indian pilgrims this season alone.
Wow.
And many of them are using Nepal as their transit route to get into Tibet for the yatra.
Even with the Rasua Bridge being out.
Yes, interestingly, even after the flood destroyed the Materi Bridge at Rasuagati, the Chinese authorities showed some pragmatism. They allowed returning pilgrims to exit through other border points like Godari and Hilsa, keeping things moving.
So this is a big economic opportunity for Nepal's travel sector.
Potentially massive.
Right.
But operators are also pointing out some challenges, things like visa processing bottlenecks, maybe some lingering infrastructure damage from the floods.
Yeah.
These could still limit just how big the boom is this year, but overall, it's a very positive development.
Definitely sounds like it. Okay, before we wrap things up, just a quick word for our listeners who might be in the UK.
Yes.
If you're a Nepalese living in the UK and you're looking for things like jobs, housing, maybe community events, or even trying to find a Nepali business near you,
Good resource to know about.
make sure to check out belayat.uk. That's PELAYAT.uk. It's a classifieds platform specifically designed for the Nepalese community there. A really helpful resource, we hear, just to connect and find what you need.
Good tip.
So that's belayat.uk. All right, wrapping up our deep dive today.
We've certainly covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From those really urgent climate change challenges and the immediate impact of disasters,
Right.
to the shifts in the economy, the digital surge, and that always intricate political landscape.
Yeah.
What really stands out to me looking across all these stories is that constant blend of vulnerability, definitely, but also incredible resilience. That ability to adapt that seems to define Nepal's journey.
I agree. And it's fascinating how these very local stories, floods in Rasua, politics in Kathmandu, have global connections and implications, especially for you, listening as part of the worldwide Nepalese diaspora.
Mm.
We really hope this deep dive has given you a clearer picture, maybe some fresh insights into everything that's developing back in Nepal.
And remember, for the full newsletter that we base this discussion on, plus even more updates and lots of other resources for the diaspora, you should definitely visit nepalidiaspora.net.
That's nepalidiaspora.net. And as you reflect on everything we've discussed today, here's something to maybe mull over.
Okay.
How might Nepal's growing reliance on digital payments, the surge we talked about, and its increasing global connectivity, how might these forces, even with those persistent challenges like infrastructure gaps and climate vulnerability, how might they fundamentally reshape Nepal's future place on the world stage?
That's a big question. Definitely something to think about. Until next time, stay curious.